Hi, hello. Welcome to the Adventure Corner. I'm your host, Robot Spacer. Phallus, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. So, I'm just going to draw some more pictures today. I feel especially unprepared today for some reason. But here we are. So I spent some time kind of mocking up what this would look like with some text over it and kind of trying to figure out like where the edges of the box are going to be and stuff like that. Also, I spent so originally I thought it would be fun to make a box that was the same size as Enchanted Scepters, and that was the plan. But then I started trying to figure out what size that box actually is, and I remembered how it's kind of weirdly tall. I should have grabbed one moment. So this is a smaller box than the Enchanted Scepters box, but it's kind of the closest comparison I have. So the Enchanted Scepters box is like maybe half an inch wider and then like a full inch and a half taller. So just kind of an odd tall size. Like most modern boxes tend to be a little bit shorter than I think even this. A lot of times you have like a, DVD case or whatever that's like, there's some plastic bits on the top and bottom, so the actual art is not as tall. But I figured this would be a better size to work with. Just feels like a little nicer, I think. And like the art I've been drawing is not especially tall. It felt like if I was going to make it a taller box, I would be kind of just padding things out too much. So this is roughly what I figured we'd go with. It might end up being cropped a little closer, but I wanted to, give myself plenty of extra art to work with. Another thought I had is that, like if we end up using this art for the itch page, there's like a banner image that's kind of a wide thing. So, for different formats like that, it might be nice to have a little bit extra width to work with. So I figure this roughly what I've got here should be pretty good. I want to add a little bit more to the house on the side here. Hello, Verdant Tree. Good to see you. Are you planning on a physical release or just doing a box mock-up for fun? Mostly just for fun. I don't really have any definitive plans to make more than one box for my own enjoyment. But I don't know. We'll see. I was talking about this with Unsecret Crush the other day, and like my feeling is that like if I did a Kickstarter or whatever to make some physical copies of it, my feeling is that it probably wouldn't get enough attention to make it worthwhile. But on the other hand, maybe I should just try it and see. It would certainly be a bummer to put a bunch of work into a Kickstarter and then have it fail, but I mean, ultimately, I'm already doing most of the work anyway, so maybe it wouldn't be that much extra work. So that's a possibility. I haven't really decided either way at this point, but I will consider it. So today, I think we're going to do an inked version of this, which isn't really a necessary step, but I think it'll help me just kind of work out some of the details more. And mainly I want to figure out shadows today, but I feel like doing an inked version will be helpful in that process to some degree. So that's kind of the plan. Also, I can't actually work this size. Oh, I wanted to do like I want to do the painting double the size it's actually going to be. Just seems like that's kind of a nice size to work in. And I want to have plenty of room to, get detail into like the face and brisket and stuff like that. Our little guy in the window here. So if I work nice and big, that'll make that stuff easier. And, if I make little mistakes, then they won't be as noticeable when it's the actual size. You should attempt to gauge interest post-release. Yeah. Another thought I've had is, I'm planning to do a playdate version of the game after this. So, maybe it would make sense to wait until that is ready for release, or even after the release of that, because, that'll get some additional interest in the game, presumably, hopefully. It'll certainly make it available to a different audience. So we'll see. Hello, 6-7. Transfer point, or as I like to call it, Maupiti Island 2. I did do some more Maupiti Island homework. I was thinking a lot about how to be as prepared as possible for next week. And what I ended up deciding on is, first of all, I rewatched all three of the quizzes I did and wrote down all the questions and my answers, just kind of for reference. And that was kind of interesting. I'll talk more about that on Tuesday. And after that, I decided to basically play through the game and give myself 4 different save files at different points in the game that are like really well optimized. So like at different times across the 2 days, I've got a save spot that like has as much of the dialogue tree unlocked as possible, and as much of the like clues uncovered, just in case that has any subtle effect on things as well. But I'm excited for Tuesday. I'm always excited for Tuesday. But I'm like, I'm getting increasingly excited as we're getting closer to finishing it, because it feels like every week now could be the one. We'll see. Any intent for a Steam release, or is Mac emulator stuff difficult through them? I don't think that's really an option. I haven't bothered to look into it just because I've never ever seen anyone release a game that would require a Mac emulator on there. I have seen some people release games on itch that include like the actual emulator and, everything all set up so you can just download it and launch it. But unfortunately, doing that is a little sketchy legally. So I ultimately decided I didn't want to do that. So the download will just be the disk image of the game itself. So you'll have to set up your own emulator if you want to play it that way. But the browser version will, just be click it and play it. Hello, Hinton. Good to see you. Okay, so like I said, I don't have any paper this big, so we can't actually work that big. We have to go back to this tiny one. I did, oh, right, I got this here. So this is the transfer token that we based the one in the game on. On the back side, it says Twin City Motor Bus Co. And then on this side, transfer token 2.5 cents. And I thought it was such a neat design that I wanted one, and it ended up being only $5 on eBay, which is kind of funny, considering it was originally 2.5 cents. But I figured that was a bargain for something this neat and very closely related to our game here. So just wanted to share that. $5 plus 3 free staples, indeed. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to take it out of this, but I figure I'll probably just leave it in there. Unless I have any particular excuse to remove it. Okay. So tomorrow I'm going to finally go painting supply shopping. Plan anyway. I was going to order everything online, but then I decided we got a nearby store that I can probably get most of the stuff at, and like I'll probably end up spending less if I buy it all locally, just because, you know, I'll be able to look at stuff and be like, yeah, this cheaper option, it seems like it's probably fine, instead of just I've been looking at a website, I don't remember the name of it, but it seems like it has some pretty good recommendations for things, but some of them are kind of on the pricey side, because, you know, like it makes sense to buy quality supplies, you know, especially if you're like, you know, really planning to get into painting seriously. But I don't know how much painting I will be doing after this. It's certainly possible I'll do more, but I don't want to spend too much money up front. And also, yeah, like I definitely like to buy things locally when I can. Hinton says buying things locally is cool where possible. Here's the thing I want right in my hands. Yeah, and like Jeff Bezos has plenty of money already. We don't need to continue supporting him unless it's really the best option available. Oops. I put a cord on top of my headphone cord. Okay. So kind of the plan here is I'm going to once again trace this onto a new sheet. I'm going to try to not be as fussy about the sketch this time. Oh, right. I also want to offset it a little because I want more space on the left and slightly less space on the right. But yeah, I'm just going to sketch as quickly as I can all the major parts, and then I'll start drawing it again in ink and try to be a little more precise about everything. And then once I have an ink outline, I think that'll be a good starting point for shadows, because then I can, you know, if I'm not quite happy with the shadows, I could just erase and I'll still have my ink lines. Hello, Puzzle. Good to see you. Hinton says it's just a bummer when your local store has all the variations of the thing except the one you specifically wanted. This happened to me. I'm so sorry, Hinton. That is definitely a bummer. I also changed the position of brisket a little bit in this version. Actually, you know, it didn't end up changing all that much. I moved him around a lot, and I thought I moved him more than I actually did in the end. I just slightly moved him away from her hand. But I'll try to make that adjustment here just so it's a closer match. Oh, I wish this light was a little better. I keep thinking about that too late to do anything. I'll probably finally remember when I'm pretty much done with this part. I'm trying to adjust the light. Okay. I should probably tape this. Just make it easier on myself. So hopefully I will be ready to actually start painting next week. I'm not going to make any promises, but that's the plan at the moment. What I want to do is start out by doing some little tiny versions of it, to experiment with color, like figure out the actual colors we're going to use as closely as we can, and then also let me get used to painting with a little less pressure, because if I goof up, like it's not going to be a final painting anyway. It's just going to be a little test. So I think that'll be less stressful starting out. I was also thinking there's certain areas where I'd like to try putting in a little more detail, but that's maybe something we can do after we ink this also. Hello, Drona. Good to see you. I was mentioning earlier that I did some PD Island homework. I've got 4 save files set up in different points in the game that are as optimized as I am currently able to do so. So, like, as much of that dialogue tree is available as I can get at that point in time. And like, I also tried to pick time periods that are good for maybe asking people about certain things or whatever, asking what they're doing and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll give us a nice setup to make some progress on Tuesday. I forgot to mention this when I was talking about it a bit ago. I also accidentally learned a new thing. I'm not going to tell you all what it is until Tuesday, but it was interesting. It was nothing huge, but it was definitely interesting. I occasionally talk to people just to kind of have a little fun with it, I guess, more than anything. I didn't really expect to find anything new. That wasn't my intent. But one time I did. Working on something as well in case needed. Interesting. Game Dev Jeff. Big news drop incoming? Very exciting. I hope you're doing well. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to do brisket yet. This tree, I respect the feedback that it would be more spookily appropriate if we could see more of the branches, but I think I'll prefer the way it looks if it's just a big leafy mess. Just like I don't want too much going on right next to her head there. And also, like, I feel like if I try to do something like I've sketched out here, it'll be hard for me to do that in a way that I'm happy with. First day of winter. Oh gosh, raining outside, working on finishing something up. Tron says, if it wasn't for your stream, I probably wouldn't have checked the game out more closely than I have and uncovered several mechanic details. Nice, that's exciting. I need my light. Let's see. I just wanted to grab this. This is still my favorite face of hers that I've drawn. And I just kind of words. I want to kind of look at that while I'm continuing to work on it until I finally get a version that like I feel like I've captured the emotion I want in this version of the drawing that I've not managed to do in any other version. I don't know why that is. I think a lot of it is just it's such a loose sketch. It's easier to convey emotion that way. And also it's possible that like I'm seeing something in the sketch that other people are not. But for me, what I want is there, and I just got to figure out how to translate that better. I'm hoping that, like, you know, I can to some degree get that kind of looser feel in the finished painting, but we'll see. I might not be skilled enough to manage that. Can't wait for the speed runs. Honestly, I'm increasingly tempted. I don't know how much time I would want to devote to that, just because it's such a complex game that it could easily consume a huge amount of time. But I feel like I got to give it at least a little bit of an effort, right? I spent so much time on that game at this point. Oh, I also finally got Unsecret Crush to help me with some reference photos. Y'all won't be able to look at those, but I will be able to look at them, and hopefully they'll help me figure out shadows and stuff. It was very tricky to get, like, you know, I already have a pose worked out and everything, and unless I want to like redraw it all, it's very tricky to get her to do the exact same pose and get the, you know, exact same camera angle. But I think it'll be enough to help me out a little bit with the shadows and the stuff. Thank you for the thanks, Hinton. I definitely have not captured the expression here well, but that's okay, whatever. And I still don't know what to do with the hair. I'm spending a little bit more time on the face here because I want to try to improve it. I don't think I am, but I'm trying, and that's the important part. Perhaps you should create the scene for the box in some kind of 3D sculpting software and use that as a reference. Could take up another 6 months of streams or so. Yeah. That's certainly an option. Like, honestly, figuring out some way to, like, get, like, a pre-made model. I could, you know, just put a similar outfit on or whatever. Seems like something that could be done without a huge amount of effort. But, whatever. I think I'm close enough that I'll be happy with the outcome here, even if it's not perfect. You think you'll work on this art on the moon at some stage? No, I do not. I am still committed to co-working on the moon at some point, just to be clear. That is still in the cards. But I don't think I'll do any drawing. I guess I could no. I honestly, I can't even think of any way to do that in the Apple goggles that would be tolerable. Like they don't support the Apple Pencil in the goggles at all. So like I don't think there's really a good way to draw in there on the moon. Maybe someday, but not right now. And like you can see when you're wearing the goggles, like you can see everything around you. But it's like it's using cameras to capture everything around you and then basically recreate it and project it into your eyes. Which like the effect is surprisingly convincing, but it's also kind of low res. Like it's a little bit like you're looking at the world through a highly compressed video on the internet. And kind of low quality. Like it's very grainy. At least with the typical lighting that we have in our home, it's probably a little bit better if you have like a really well lit space, but like I don't think it would be good for trying to do any sort of drawing in. Also like so when you're on the moon, you can see your hands. Like it's able to detect those, and like, you know, it's projecting the moon inside the goggles, and it's taking the video of what it's seeing outside of the goggles. So like it can take the video it's recording of your hands and superimpose that on the moon. It's really hard to explain, but you know, it's specifically detecting your hands, so like it won't detect the rest of your body, which can be a little strange if you look down, and it also won't detect your surroundings, so I wouldn't be able to really draw in real life on the moon. You can kind of dial in the effect of like how much the environment, such as the moon, that you are in, like consumes of your space. So like you know, if you dial it down really low, like you're seeing the moon right in front of your eyes, but if you look to the left or right, you'll see your actual physical space that you're in. But I still don't think it would work great for drawing. Jabberwocky, good to see you. What are Apple goggles? The official product name is Apple Vision Pro. It's a VR headset designed by Apple. And it's interesting to say the least. Certain things are incredibly impressive. Other things I've been a little bit frustrated by. Edenwaith, hello. Have you used the Apple Vision Pro, and does it come in blueberry flavor / colors? I have used it. I have one, in fact. I find the interaction stuff a little bit challenging. You know, like most VR headsets have some sort of device. Like, I feel like the most common setup is you have a controller in each hand, and it can use that controller to detect where your hands are. And then you also tend to have some buttons on those controllers that you can press for certain things. And Apple likes to simplify everything, perhaps a little too much. So, like, they don't have any controller that you use. It just detects what your hands are doing. It also detects what your eyes are looking at. So, like, the way you select a button, like on an interface that's floating in front of you, is you look at the button and then you pinch your fingers together. And when it works well, it's pretty great. But it doesn't always work well, at least for me. But if you're doing something that's kind of like minimal interaction, in just kind of like, you know, looking at stuff and interacting with it in, you know, minimal ways, it can be pretty interesting and impressive. Like you know, the displays and everything are much better than any other VR I have used, at least. Like really high resolution and great quality image and stuff. Though I haven't used a ton, so I don't really know how they compare to other like more recent options. It says, all my memories of my kid's birthday are low-res reproductions filtered through my Apple goggles. Yeah, that is a thing they kind of promoted for some reason. Walked through an Apple store today and saw those on a table. Yeah, they're really pushing them. I feel like, I don't know, it's their approach to the product is kind of unusual. Like it's very expensive and they're calling it Pro. So like, to me, it kind of suggests like they don't really expect a lot of people to buy this right now, but they're working towards an eventual product that will be more affordable and appeal to more people. But, you know, they still want to get people interested in it, so. Minimal interaction tasks have been crying out for an expensive, immersive environment. Yeah. The other thing they've really been pushing with the goggles is like using them along with your Mac, which is kind of an interesting approach, and it kind of solves the problem of interaction because you're, you know, using an actual keyboard and mouse, and then the goggles are basically giving you this enormous display. You can also, I think, use a keyboard directly with the goggles. I think so. I'm pretty sure that's an option. Can't imagine why it wouldn't be. But yeah, if you use them along with a Mac, it's kind of interesting. Like, I feel like if you really need a big display for your work, this kind of opens up the possibility of, you know, basically having a portable, enormous display that is, you know, physically much smaller than what you would have to move around with an actual physical huge display. But for the stuff I do, I generally don't need a huge display, and it feels a little cumbersome to have a thing on my head all the time. So. Yeah, unfortunately, since Unsecret Crush and I both wear glasses, like, she can't really try mine out. Like, I tried it before. My lenses came a little bit later than the goggles themselves, so I really cannot draw and talk at the same time. Like, it almost feels physically impossible. Yeah, it's not possible. When I tried them without the lenses, like, everything was blurry and it was really hard to focus, like, you know, because you interact with things by looking at them. Like, it's really hard to do that. I think a lot of it was because I was constantly trying to squint, and then that screws up the eye tracking. But yeah, it was not a good experience. So like, if you need corrective lenses and don't have contacts, you kind of have to get the custom lenses. You could maybe very uncomfortably put them over your glasses, but I don't think that would be a great experience. I haven't even tried that. I'd be a little worried that I would actually accidentally damage like my glasses and or the device. Eden White says, I'm not sure how well I do with the Vision Pro. I discovered while playing Doom Sigil 2 and Return of the Obra Dinn, I'm getting more motion sickness. Getting older is awesome. Interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard of that, of people having a more of a problem with that as they get older. I don't have much of an issue with that myself. I'm kind of curious, like, do people with motion sickness have a worse experience in VR? I almost wonder if it would be not as bad, because I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like motion sickness tends to come from having a thing that makes it feel like you're moving, but then, you know, the rest of the environment around you is not. So like if you're fully in an environment that is like consistent, I wonder if maybe that would be less of an issue. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's more of a like having, you know, movement in your vision, whereas you physically are not moving. Apple goggles do not appear to have arrived in my country yet. Yeah, they're currently only in the US. I think they're getting ready to finally release them in some other countries, but have not yet, as far as I know. I wonder if it will take Apple a few years to figure out how to best market the Vision Pros, sort of how it took a few iterations for the Apple Watch. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that goes. Especially, like, I haven't heard in a while if regular people have any opinions on them. Like, I feel like the a lot of the stuff happening at launch was perhaps a bit unfortunate as far as their marketing team is concerned. Just people being kind of ridiculous and running around outdoors with their goggles on and stuff, which is like absolutely not designed for that. Like, I saw videos of people doing stuff like if you're walking somewhere and trying to interact with an interface, you're going to be walking past the interface, because like it's not designed for that. So the windows you're interacting with don't move with you. They stay where they are in space. So like I've seen videos of people like interacting with something, and you can see them kind of like turning their head because the thing they're trying to interact with is you know, staying back where it first appeared. But yeah, like it feels like VR for non-entertainment purposes is maybe a difficult sell. I'm certainly not sold on it yet. Oh, I should look at my reference photos a little bit here. I think the most helpful thing from the reference photos I have here is kind of looking at the arms of the jacket in particular. Like the jacket on Secret Crush had, it's not really the same, but I feel like I can kind of fake it and use a lot of the same folds and stuff that are in the reference photo. But I think I want to kind of square this up a little bit more. Podcast time? Are you saying that I need to start a podcast? Absolutely not. I've used the PlayStation VR before. Yeah, the PlayStation VR is my previous VR experience. So like my very first VR experience was, I don't remember what it was called or much about it at all, but it was a, before anything was, sold in homes. It was probably, let's see, I think it was in high school. So it would have been like early 90s. And like we went into like this ring. So like there's a ring around you that was kind of used to detect your movement, or at least like positioning and stuff. And then you put a headset on that was quite large, as I recall, and probably had a big cable running out of it. And that's kind of all I remember about it. I have a certain category of memory that's like, I'm positive this thing is real, but like my memories of it are so vague, and like I have other memories of things I've seen that I feel like get jumbled in it a little bit, that I start to worry that I'm wrong and this was not a real experience, but I'm pretty sure it was. Usually with that kind of memory, I am eventually able to come up with some evidence that I'm not just making it up if I put the effort into it. But yeah, so like that a long time ago, and then PlayStation VR, which was neat. And I feel like just using like either a controller or like the PlayStation Move controllers made the interaction a lot better, but the visuals were kind of terrible. Still a very impressive effect, but like the combination of all the connections you had to do with your PlayStation, like there are lots of cords to plug in and stuff, and the relative low resolution were like the big downsides for me. So it's kind of funny that Apple totally solved the resolution problem, but the interaction is, in my opinion, not great. But like, it's weird because the product is much better for entertainment stuff. But like, and like even like a lot of stuff they're doing, like Disney just released a Marvel thing that I've heard described as kind of like a theme park ride. Like the interaction is pretty minimal. So that was like a Disney product, but I assume Apple did a lot of convincing there, if not outright giving them money. And like Apple has released a thing where you kind of mostly watch a dinosaur and a butterfly and stuff. There's like the teeniest bit of interactivity there. So like it almost seems like they recognize that it's better for entertainment purposes, but they're so dead set against doing something like a game controller or whatever. Like I don't think you can even, well, I could be wrong. I haven't seen any evidence that third parties are doing stuff that would require a game controller. So I kind of think that's not even an option, but I could be wrong. I'm never going to get any drawing done today. That's okay. You like the bangs of the other drawing? Of this one? This whole head is greatly preferable to me. But it's all very loose, and like I'm trying to figure out how to like I need to figure out where these actual lines are in here, and I can't quite translate that drawing to something that's a little more cleaned up. This face is, I'm not happy with it at all, but I'll come back to it. I wanted to get into spending my whole workday in VR, but then I ended up needing to go to the office a lot. Speaking of working in VR, I posted this on Discord the other day. Job Simulator, I'm pretty sure that's the correct name. Job Simulator is now available for the goggles, and they also have a sequel called Vacation Simulator. And then there was another game I had heard about called, I think it's Demio, which is like this tabletop game. It's like you're playing a tabletop game, but like, you have this fancy, very elaborate board with little figures you can move around. And then you also have cards that are like, very detailed drawings, and they probably do some like effects on them and stuff, that you couldn't do in real life. But like I've heard good things about that. And then I looked at the App Store, and like they all cost money. And like I just want to try them out. Like I don't want to commit. Like if I had a demo I could check out, then I might end up buying some. But I already spent all my money on the goggles. I can't afford games. Mostly I'm worried, like, because of my concerns with the interaction, like, I don't know if I'll actually enjoy these things. I'll probably end up buying something eventually, but, like, I definitely want to read more reviews before I spend the money. Oh, it was the OK Retro podcast music. Okay. I'm continually like probably 20 minutes behind chat here. I understand now. A few years ago I did some research on VR and iOS, not much available at the time. There was Google Cardboard, and I tried that for a bit, which ended up giving me a headache. Oh, 67 says, by the way, my VR vampire murder game is coming out next week. Exciting. And also congrats. As I mentioned previously, I'm really hoping Silver will check that out on stream, because I would love to see it. And that's probably my best shot at approximating the experience right now. That old VR experience sounds like something I also once tried. Maybe at Disneyland or something? Definitely a much bigger machine. Yeah, I honestly, I don't remember where it was. Zero memory at all. Hello, Britt Kaylee. Thank you so much for coming by. Great to see y'all. I hope you had a good stream. I was lurking a little bit. If y'all are not following Britt K. Kaylee already, I would highly recommend it. Fantastic streamer and also artist. I'm so far behind on chat. I gotta catch up a little here. I'm gonna skim a bit. I'm so sorry, everyone. We've been, I'm trying to get some drawing done, but we've been distracted by chat. I've been distracted by chat, and I've learned that I cannot draw and chat at the same time. The part of my brain responsible for drawing shuts down as soon as I start, like, talking about something. What was I going to say? Oh, for anyone new here, hello, I'm Robot Spacer. So what I'm working on is cover art for a game that we made almost entirely on stream. And the game's done now, so I got to make a box for it, and that's what I'm working on. The game was completely designed in a program from 1986 for the original Macintosh. However, when I release it, I will also make it playable in a browser with an emulator. So that'll let folks check it out, even if they don't have a very old Macintosh, which I'm sure is most people. But I kind of wanted to, just for fun, also create a box for it as if it were a real product back in 1986. So I've been sketching out different drawings, and eventually I will attempt to paint it in acrylics, and we'll see how that goes. I've been an artist for pretty much all my life, but I've never done a ton of painting, and I haven't done any painting at all in quite a while. So we'll see. It'll at least be a fun experience, I think. Let's all take 400 stolen playdates to our heads. I can't believe that. If anyone does not have any idea what Hinton is referencing, first of all, if you don't know what the playdate is, it's this little guy. It's an adorable little handheld game device that also has a crank. It doesn't charge it, but you can use it for certain games. But they had a bunch of playdates stolen. Like, they were expecting a shipment. FedEx told them it was delivered, but it wasn't there. And for a very long time, it was just kind of unknown what happened to them. But then whoever had them dumped them outside a restaurant in the area, I guess. Such a weird conclusion to that story. Like, it seemed like they very hastily dumped them. They probably realized that it was hard to get rid of them, and it was better to just give them back and not have anyone know what happened to them. Who is they? They being Panic. Panic is the company that designed the Playdate. They started out many, many years ago making Macintosh software. And these days, they obviously now they have the Playdate as a big product of theirs. They also make software for Mac and iOS, iPhone and iPad. And they've also released a lot of games. They've been a publisher for Firewatch. Untitled Goose Game. That's the one I was trying to remember. And some other ones. All very good and wonderful stuff. They've also they've done so many weird things. Like for a while, they had a bunch of apparel, mostly related to their own products. But like at one point, they partnered with Keita Takahashi, the designer of Katamari Damacy, and did a bunch of Katamari Damacy shirts, just for because. But yeah, they're wonderful people. I've met a few of them over the years, and they do all kinds of great stuff. It got so tough to make money in Mac software, they had to make a whole game console. I think they still do pretty well with Mac software. I mean, obviously I don't know, but it kind of seems like that's still a pretty big part of what makes them money. I know they struggle to make their iPhone and iPad software as successful as they hoped. Just because, for Mac software, they can sell stuff directly and not have to give, 30% of their profits to Apple and, have control over, how upgrade pricing works and stuff like that. But with iOS, Apple's much more in control of all that stuff. Inouye said, and some newer stuff I can't think of. The most recent game they published, I think, is called Nour, N-O-U-R. It's like this interesting food-based game, but as with most other new games that look interesting, I have not had a chance to check it out. It looked fun though. Like, it had a very like like a vibe of like Nobi Nobi Boy comes to mind, where it's like just kind of a lot of like playing around without necessarily any specific goals, but I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate. Dronon says, once I came back to my basement apartment after Christmas break and there was extra stuff in my entranceway. I found some letters and managed to contact the owner. Turns out it was stuff that had been stolen from his place. Apparently a plumber who'd entered my unit had found the stuff dumped in my yard, assumed it was mine, and brought it inside. Oh, that's wild. Nothing about a goose who was removed as a feudal lord, thus becoming untitled. Anyway, it says, I'm guessing Panic still does okay with Mac software, but iOS software could be challenging. Yeah, they had some stuff that they basically had to stop supporting for iOS, just because it wasn't as successful as they wanted it to be. It's interesting to see some of the stuff that's happening, like in the EU, Apple had to allow anyone to make their own app store, basically, and companies can even distribute software directly on their own websites, although there are some restrictions on that. But it honestly seems like that is something Apple should just allow everywhere. Like, I feel like it would work out better for them in the end. I'm sure they're very attached to their, cut of all software sales, but I'm sure they could figure out a way to make it work. I think it's Nor rhymes with poor. Okay, I was never sure on the pronunciation. Nor. You're too busy developing games for 80s Macs to play anything new. Yeah, and also playing DOS games from the mid-90s, apparently. Early 90s. Jabberwocky says, so is notarizing apps for Mac cheaper than selling an app on iOS iPad is? Notarizing apps for Mac costs $100 a year. That's it. And you can notarize as many apps as you want with that. So yeah, that's quite a bit cheaper. For like iOS sales, I think this is still correct. 30% of sales go to Apple, but in certain circumstances, it's only 15. The circumstances are kind of too complicated to explain, really. But they heavily encourage subscriptions in order to get that 15%. John says, I didn't know about the plumber at first, so when the guy came by to get his things, it was a very awkward conversation. How did my stuff end up here? I don't know. It was here when I got back. That's so weird. I could imagine being absolutely bewildered and like I would feel so awkward, like not being able to explain how that stuff got there. So I'm sure it was a little stressful, but it's great that they got their stuff back. If they can't make the 30% off every sale, they're going to have to cut off the supply of free soda for that coding team. That's true. Edenway says to Jabberwocky, if you have an Apple Dev account, one can code sign and notarize Mac software, no extra cost, and distribute the app however you want. Yeah, to clarify, the $100 is for the developer account. You can get a developer account for free, but certain things require you to pay $100 yearly fee for, and that is one of them. Do you think you'll hit 500 hours with Maupiti Island? God, I hope not. I really thought I was going to finish it in May, but here we are. Tomorrow's June. I hope I can wrap it up in the next few weeks. Just because I feel like the process at this point is just going to be going around and talking to all the characters more, and being more thorough about that. And now I know how to get more information out of them in some cases. So if it takes long, I feel like it's just going to get kind of tedious and require me to make more spreadsheets to keep track of what I have and haven't tried. So I think it'll be more fun for everyone involved if I can wrap it up at least in June. But we'll see. I'm I've already been doing some homework to do more tedious stuff off stream, and I'm definitely not opposed to continuing that if necessary. How rude of June, I know. I have about an hour of May left to finish off Maupiti Island. I did, I have more than once pondered the possibility of just saying, fuck it, I'm going to play Maupiti Island every day on stream until I'm done with it. But since Unsecret Crush also streams, that's not really an option. And I feel like if I just add an extra day or two and also stream it on Friday, I don't know, that's not as funny. It's not as funny if I can't fully commit to the bit. So I'll just take it one Tuesday at a time. We'll get there. Too bad I only just thought of Maupiti Island. Yeah, I think that crossed my mind at some point. That would have improved my "we met in Maupiti" joke. If you play too much Maupiti Island, you might start talking like a robot. That is a valid concern. So, I was thinking about adjusting this, the way I've drawn this leg a little bit. I just gotta move some windows around to look at a reference image that I used for this. I think at some point I made a... Yeah, okay. So at some point I tried to... I have a reference photo, I'm not going to bother to show y'all, but it's like a similar pose. I was finally able to find someone, you know, in the pose I was looking for. Everything was as usual. I can't do that in the robot voice. I might be able to do it if I practice. But I drew that pose, and then I tried to exaggerate it a little more to make it, you know, look a little more exaggerated and, you know, more interesting. You know, because I'm not trying to be like perfectly realistic here. But I think I exaggerated the legs a little too much, which became apparent when I tried to make Unsecret Crush pose for a reference photo. So I'm debating whether I want to tweak that or just not worry about it. Like this leg is going back here too much. Like you'd have to be walking in a super exaggerated way for that to happen. Like the original reference, the other leg was more like this. But maybe that looks kind of weird with how I've done everything else. So I don't know. Maybe I just won't worry about it. Oh no, I dropped my eraser. Remember when I was going to do this sketch really quick and then get to inking? I remember that. It's only 11. I got time. I might need to bring up, let's see. Let's go look at the house here. Okay. Figure out some more of the details here. So what am I looking at here? Okay. I was trying to figure out what some of these lines are. Love me a totally normal porch on a totally normal house. Yeah. Another thing I want to try to put more detail into is the bus stop. I guess I skipped I don't want to make it too detailed, but it'd be maybe nice to make it just a tiny bit more detailed than what's in the game. Not sure what that would entail exactly, but might help to look at the original reference we used again. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball these arcs. Last week I talked about my college teacher that felt very strongly about ellipses, and he'd be frowning at me right now, but he's not here, so I'll simply have to live with my own mistakes. That's fine. Oh God, I missed. Dronon said apparently Subway is now selling foot-long cookies. That's huh. I mean, I guess it's still smaller than a cookie cake. What I want to know is how big is it in the other dimension? Is it like a like I'm imagining a kind of sub-shaped cookie, which is kind of a weird image, honestly. I quit at a foot cookie train. I mean, I think you could, you know, chain as many of them up as you like, right? There's no one to stop you from realizing your dreams. I feel like every time I try to refine things, it just, I don't know. Things feel more off. I guess it'll be a little bit bigger than this, but I hope I can make this little guy on the window look noticeable in the painting. I guess worst case scenario, I can do a little separate painting and kind of Photoshop them in there. But I think, like, this is the actual size I'll be painting. So yeah, I feel like with a tiny brush, I can get something resembling a figure against the window there. Oh, we got an article here. Does it have a picture? Please tell me it has a picture. Oh, thank you. I'd eat part of that. Have returned. This is a thing they used to have? TLDR, Subway made footlong cookies for National Cookie Day in 2022 at select restaurants, but they're bringing them back as a more routine kind of gimmick. Got it. Thank you for sharing these important details. Knowing my luck, the cookie train will be declared illegal here. That is an unfortunate thought. Okay, so I guess part of the house that I'm trying to draw here is not in the previous sketch we were working with, which is a little unfortunate. Mostly because, like, the steps should be here. But drawing that accurately is going to mean figuring out more perspective. And we've got angled lines on the steps, so that's additional complications. Let's see. I need a sheet of printer. I need to go get a piece of paper out of the printer. I'll be right back. Do normal people still have printers at their homes? I feel like that must be becoming a somewhat antiquated thing. Like, you know, I grew up having a printer because for a long time it was frequently necessary to print things from a computer, but these days it's pretty rare. And I feel like if I wasn't already used to it, I would just get by without one. And also if I didn't already have one. The original limited release of footlong cookies had a bunch of shit on top of them. They're much simpler now. That seems best. But Kaylee says, Pixie, my parents' cat, was just very entranced by you, Robot Spacer. She was on my desk and wouldn't move and just watching you. That's great. Also, Pixie is a very good name for a cat. Silver says, I went to look up one thing and lost like an hour of time from a random internet goose chase that led to a million unrelated things. Oh no. So I forget when your next CDN stream is. Is that next week? Secret Crush says, very sadly, dang, nobody's pets are ever obsessed with my streams. I'm so sorry. Silver says, B always gets excited when she hears a Robot Spacer on Secret Crush and jumps on my lap to watch. Apparently, Culinary's dog Nacho is also a fan of my streams. Hello, Salt Ranger. Good to see you. I have a Brother black and white printer. Same. I have the Brother printer that everyone recommends. I got mine before it became an internet sensation. Let's see, how did that happen? We used to have a Brother something or other. My parents did. So I was pretty happy with their products. I think it might have been a wire cutter recommendation, the specific model I got when I bought it. But then it kind of, like somebody, was that a Gizmodo thing? Somebody did a wonderful article that was basically like, here's the just buy this printer, or even just any Brother laser printer. That's all you need to know about, printer recommendations, is just buy this one. Val says, I'm not normal. Hinton says, I think normal people still have printers if they still have a printer, but I don't think they'd buy a new one. Yeah, I think that's sensible. Frit has multiple printers. Wow. Silver says, we have two, both laser printers, both compact, both still using their initial drums from when we bought them like 6 years ago. Now that I've seen some comments from people about having multiple printers, we might still have our previous printer somewhere. Anyway, says, am I considered normal? I have a printer. My parents also got a new printer. 67 says, I bought a printer just before I left California in 2012 because I couldn't use the one at my office anymore, and I haven't unpacked it from its box since I packed it up when I left. Makes sense. I see Crush says, my mom uses her printer every single day to print out crossword puzzles, which is wonderful. Next CDN is Tuesday. Excellent. Just did audio tests today. Wonderful. I'm excited to watch that. And you're playing Duck Detective. Or Duck Detective. Ian says, neither of the dogs I look after give a shit about any streamer. That's great. Good for them. Ian Way says, my cat is obsessed with my printer. He seems to be really interested when it makes noise and shakes. It does seem like that could be a little intriguing and perhaps even alarming. Sorry, every streamer you are not as interesting as a car door closing half a block away. Yeah, that seems like the kind of shit that dogs are really into. Silver says to Unsecret Crush, I think it might be because she tends to show up a bit after Robot Spacer starts. With your stream, she tends to show up as soon as you give your hello. Oh, so maybe even a bigger fan of Unsecret Crush. I get a laser printer next, but fortunately my current Epson is doing okay. It doesn't nag me like my old HP inkjet used to, so that is appreciated. That's good. Yeah, I have always had, I think the main problem I've had with inkjet printers is I don't print enough stuff, so the cartridges always kind of dry up. Like, I think it's like kind of the ink near the nozzle dries out and the nozzle gets clogged up. And like usually they have some feature to help unclog that, but it's just always a huge hassle. But laser printers, especially Brothers, laser printers have just been very hassle-free. And like the toner cartridge lasts so long. Oh, we did give it away at some point? Maybe. Britt says we have a laser printer for documents and my Epson for art prints. Yeah, I used to, when we had color printers, I used to prefer Epson. Willow loves everyone, just so she gets excited and then hangs out whenever I'm watching anyone. Nice. Hinton says, I got told I needed to print, sign, scan, and email a contract, so I signed the PDF on my phone, printed to PDF, and sent it back to them. That's amazing. Also, that's probably something I would do. Okay, so we're trying to figure out some perspective here. Okay. So I've got a line here that was my horizon line when I previously worked on perspective. Okay, I should tape this piece of paper on here, I suppose. Remember printer drivers. Remember how much of a pain were printer drivers. I feel like I definitely had some occasional struggles with printer drivers. I wonder if maybe it was sometimes at least a little bit of a less hassle on a Mac. Definitely, like, I remember struggling with printer drivers in Windows, like when I had to help my parents out or something like that. That was always a nightmare. Any kind of drivers in Windows in like the 90s. Oh god. Okay, so these lines all go to a vanishing point. I don't know, over here somewhere. Okay, yeah, so it's like roughly here. I'm trying to figure out, so like I want to draw some stairs coming out here that are going to be roughly like that. And I'm trying to think of, so like these lines should be perpendicular, right? And I'm trying to think of if there's a correct way to figure out the angle of that to draw it accurately, and I really can't think of how that would work. I mean, ultimately it's okay if I just kind of eyeball it, as long as it looks all right. Every time I hear steps coming down the hallway, I wonder if Unsecret Crush is about to come in the room and tell me something. But I think she was just going somewhere else. Like, to me, this angle looks about right. But like a vanishing point right there seems weird. I was laughing at a comment from Unsecret Crush that I'll get to in a moment. Silver said, if I had $1 million, I'd do a cross-country trek with Kia and the dogs for them to meet everyone that wanted to meet them. The dogs, you're all meeting Kia whether you want to or not. Got it. That would be great. And a good use of money at IMO. Until Crush said, this printer talk is reminding me, did you ever succeed in convincing your mom that a copier that scans but is not also a printer doesn't exist? So, so my mom wanted, my parents have a printer that they're perfectly happy with. They also have a full-on copier, like standalone device, right? My mom used to do like a lot of like desktop publishing type stuff, and like I think they first bought a copier when she was doing that kind of stuff. And back then it seemed more essential, but I think now they're just kind of attached to the idea of having it. Like my mom has tried to do more stuff digitally, and just, you know, keep things on the computer, but it's complicated. Anyway, so their copier is broken, it needs to be replaced. So like my mom was trying to find a replacement for it, but also like can be a scanner for the computer, which makes sense. Because then, you know, in some cases at least, she can, you know, just scan things instead of making a copy and, you know, store the file digitally. But, like, she had this idea that, like, she didn't want it to have a printer function because they're already happy with their printer. I don't know. It's a little silly, but I also kind of understand it. But, yeah, I don't think such a thing exists because it doesn't really make sense. If it is able to scan and print things on its own, and it can hook up to a printer to serve as a scanner, like, of course it's going to be able to print as well, right? Oh, I missed the don't answer this yet, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm so sorry. I'll have to tell you later. I'm not going to start it over because it wasn't that interesting of a story. But no, I don't think they ever found a replacement, or something that met her very specific needs, rather. I don't really understand why they need a copier, because my mother is attached to having physical things. I was gonna say printouts, but that's not really appropriate. Like if she needs a copy of something, she wants it to be on paper a lot of the times. I feel like receipts, for example, would be a thing, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, receipt paper is not really designed to last. But the other thing that confuses me is they're both retired now. I don't understand why they would need to, like, you know, make copies of receipts for tax purposes so much these days. But who knows? I don't really understand much of what my mother does these days. So I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna see if I can very quickly find something that'll help me fix this. Get the correct perspective here. So I'm Googling 2-point perspective. Oh, everything's gonna be a video, isn't it? Yeah, it is. How to figure out your second point? The virtualinstructor.com. Don't let me down here, virtualinstructor.com. I'm a little tempted to put this on stream, but I'll share the link in chat in case you want to watch along at home. Yeah, I think they're just kind of picking two vanishing points, which is kind of what I thought. Like, you just put them wherever you want. Like, it's ultimately affecting the angle of what you're seeing. Oh, I guess we already did two vanishing points over here. Yeah. I don't know why this feels different, but it's not really any different. I'm sorry to hear that your computer needs to be restarted, Hinton. Sometimes computers simply need this. Yeah, I personally rarely need anything physical anymore. Like in terms of like documents. Like when I I'm trying to explain I'm trying to get words out of my brain. Like a lot of times, like taxes is kind of the main thing where I think of documents these days, and like over time, like I've shifted to most tax related stuff I tend to buy online anyways. So it's pretty rare that I buy something in a physical store that's like, you know, a business expense or whatever. So yeah, like I have a tiny little document scanner, and like occasionally I'll need to scan something. But you know, for me, I do that and I shred the original, and you know, it's just a digital document at that point. That's all I need. Like, I'm trying to figure out where this vanishing point should be. Like, I feel like a line like this kind of makes sense. But that puts the vanishing point right here. So, like, you're not going to see it, but if I were to draw the other side of this staircase, like, I basically created this very extreme angle on the stairs. And, like, that feels a little bit weird to me. But also, like, you're not going to see it. Like, I'm literally never going to draw it. So I shouldn't worry about it. But it feels odd. So I'm trying to figure out if I want it further out. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it here. I think it's gives me a better angle on the part that you're actually going to see. So just try not to think about the part you won't be seeing. Okay, so like this is, did I actually do that line correctly? Or did I just eyeball it? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, so like we now have an accurate, like, this is the bottom of where the stairs are. So then we need some vertical lines. And then shoot. I drew this in the wrong spot, basically. What was I thinking? Like this needs to be, this line here needs to be in line with this post, because the railing needs to come off that post. So these lines ended up kind of crooked. I don't think that was on purpose, so I'm going to straighten them up a little bit. Okay. That's the vanishing point I was using, right? So I think this bush here is a little bit too close to the stairs. That's kind of why I drew the stairs where I did. But we're going to have to just move the bush a little bit. It's not too big of a deal. You can just do that, I think. Okay. No, my eraser. Okay. So I figured out this has the perfect eraser holder up here. Okay. So I think now what I want to do is basically draw this is hard to explain, but like I want to make the complete shape that encloses the stairs, and then I'm gonna just kind of figure out where the stairs go inside of that. So I need like a big box. Where the top of it is in line with the top of the stairs. So I have this line here, but I think that's just kind of a made-up line that we don't really want to be there. Just kind of roughed in a line that doesn't quite make sense, because the stairs need to come up a little bit higher than that. Actually, the stairs might not come out as far as I've drawn them. Let's adjust this front line. Because there's only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stairs that I've drawn. And we might have even less of them in this illustration. There definitely won't be more than 5 stairs, that's for sure. So I think the top of the stairs is going to be around here. Seems to match up with what's in the game pretty well. And then there's like a railing that comes to about here on the porch. Survived the restart. Congratulations, Hinton. I'm glad to hear that. Welcome back. One never knows if the computer will still work after you restart it. Okay. So that's the top of the box I'm drawing here. And again, like, I'm not drawing all these perspective lines because I am super concerned about this being absolutely perfect, but I do think if you take the time to work out the perspective, it's gonna generally look a bit more believable overall, and then you can kind of, you know, as you're finishing up, you know, your drawing or painting or whatever, you can, you know, go over your perspective lines a little bit more loosely to, you know, make it still feel natural. So you kind of add in a little imperfection later. Okay, so here's the side of our box, and we have the front of our box. We don't really care about the other. We've got the back of it here. We don't really need to worry about this other side, I don't think. So let's figure out how many steps we actually want here. I think 3. I don't think we can do... Oh, actually, you know what? I said that I had drawn 5 steps, but I think some of these lines, like I was just kind of counting the rectangles here, but like there's a line that's meant to be the front of a step and then a line that's meant to be the top of that step. So we've only really got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 steps. Yeah. So I think that is what I intended. And I think 3 is a good number. So we can divide this up. I'm just going to eyeball some of this. And then from the side, we'll divide this into 3. I guess I'll go ahead and work out where the actual center of this is. Okay. Starting to get... There's too many lines here now, but... Okay, I think that's decent. So now... Oh, wait. Shoot. Is that what I want? I was going to have the first step, like, the first step should go straight down where it meets the porch. Really? So it'll look kind of weird otherwise. So that means this either won't come out as far as I was originally thinking, or... down and... Yeah, so we really need one division here. Are those steps going to be too long? It's probably kind of like, it's hard for me to tell what I'm doing here because I got so many lines, but this is the shape I have now for like the side of the steps. And I feel like these steps are a little unnaturally long. That'll work out better. So then we just have, divide this in half here. I think that's better. Again, it's a little bit messy, but it'll be more obvious once I start using ink here. And I think that's it's a good stair shape. And then we still have to add like so there's going to be a post here. Oh, we talked about stair terms at one point a long time ago. I can't remember what the top of the post or even the post itself is called. But then we have a railing that's going to come up at a diagonal here. But let's see, we can... So I want the railing at the top to be the same distance from the bottom. So okay, so I need to okay, so that's like 5/8. And then we draw this to our vanishing point. So that gives me the point here where the railing should come up to. I think that looks pretty good. I can get back to earning Bing rewards. You must have so many Bing rewards by now, Hinton. Okay. I feel good about all that. Now I feel bad about my ellipses here, but what you gonna do? They're not that bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have some other lines to draw here. Just a little bit of a line. There. So that's just like a railing that's in along the front of the porch. And then we have, this is the upper story here. And then this line should come down here. So that's where the, like the actual house is, which the porch is, you know, coming out from. So I'm trying to figure out if you would see any of the front door. Let's see. If I draw some of this through, I think we can answer that. Obviously we can fake it if we want to, but I think I'd rather figure out the real answer. Let's see. How do we do this? Okay, so that's that whole railing. And then like this. Okay, so this point here is where the back of where that railing would meet the house, basically. This is too much for my brain. There's too many lines to think about. I had the simple thing I was trying to figure out in my head, but I keep losing track. Like, I basically want to figure out where, like, this line, where this line would meet the house as it comes back here. So, oh, maybe, yeah, I just need to bring this line down and then, I guess I need to figure out the front. Okay. So that's the bottom back part of the porch. Okay. And that's okay. So I think the door, the edge of the door area would be about here. So like, you would at least see a little bit of this window. Thank God I never need to use my brain to understand lines. It's best not to, I think. Okay, so... right? I think that's right. Ish. All right, I think we'll call that good enough for now. Let's see. All right. That was tedious. It was tedious, but I think worth doing. I am not happy with this face. I think I'm going to go ahead and... Well, I'll leave it. I was going to take off this extra sheet of paper, but I'll just leave it for now. It'll be a little annoying, but not too big of a deal. Okay, so we need to draw the rest of this tree. Oh, it does kind of harm the opacity here, or transparency rather. So I think I'm gonna just draw, like, you'll see some branches at the bottom here, kind of like what you can see in the game. But then it'll just be a big leafy thing. simple. Oh, you should see a little bit of the tree through the porch. Like this branch. Yeah, that's better, I think. Okay. Yeah, I need to get rid of this piece of paper. I can't lift my drawing up to look at the previous version anymore. I'll save my tape in case I need it. Get out of here, perspective lines. Okay. I think I've transferred over most of the important stuff in the house area here. Obviously, we haven't done brisket yet. I want to put everything else in place, and then I'm going to shift the drawing so we can adjust brisket's position a little. All right, so let's try to clean up this face a little bit. Well, it's clean. It's just not how I want it. Should really probably brush up on things like how to properly draw an eye shape. It's been a little too long since I learned how to do that correctly. A little better. I still can't figure out what I actually want this hair to be doing. I don't really have a good reference for the hair I'm going for here. Like, I modeled it a little bit after Cameron Howe from Halt to Catch Fire in the first season, but it's not really the same. So it's kind of tricky to figure out what it should be doing. But like this is tucked behind the ear and it's kind of curling up in the back on both sides. And then this part here is the trickiest thing. Like I'm trying to do this kind of loose bang situation. And then like over here is the biggest question mark. I guess realistically this should be more like that. It's a little better. All right, I think that's maybe enough that I can start inking and then finally get to those working out shadows and stuff. I mean, you know, we still made progress, so that's good. I should draw. I kind of forgot some hand lines here. Oh, and Brisket. Can't believe I almost forgot Brisket. Is there anything else major that I forgot here? This jacket, something's not right here. Something's weird looking. So I'm gonna work that out. It's such a weird process. Like I've been doing art almost entirely digitally for a while now. It's so weird to going back to like doing things this way. Like I can't just draw over this and like flip back and forth to see how they compare, and like it's just there's so many convenient things that I've gotten used to. Brisket will never forgive you if you don't draw them. The cat will get retribution by working on your bed. Oh no, we don't want that. Okay, I think that's pretty good, so we'll move the paper a little bit and just draw Brisket. So yeah, I really just moved Brisket just a little bit to the right is pretty much it. Maybe up a tiny bit. It doesn't matter if the placement is perfect, but I want to try to get it a little bit closer to the intended final version here. Just because there's no reason not to. think that'll do. Okay. Pretty happy with that. So I'm going to take a break for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll start inking this, and then we'll start figuring out where the heck all the shadows go, which hopefully my reference photos that Unsecret Crush helped me with will answer at least some of the questions I had there. It'll certainly come out looking more accurate than it would have if I didn't take any reference photos. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll go leave it on this scene for anyone coming by. I'll just mute my mic. Hello. Okay. So. There it is. So, these pens. I've talked about these pens before. They're the pens I use all the time on stream. I have a few over here that I've been using. They're a little beat up. But I thought they were fine. But then there was one in particular that I was using the other day for my PD Island homework. And that's the one I've been using the most lately. And it just got, like, especially dried out, I think, and was not drawing as well as it used to. So I got on a new one. It's been a while since I cracked open a new one, so I wanted to get a completely fresh one and see how that worked compared to what I've gotten used to. And oh my god, it's so much better. I don't know why I've been struggling with those pens. I feel like at least a couple of those I need to throw out at this point. But the fresh pen makes much nicer lines. Often for drawing, I have another type. It's the same Uniball Deluxe, but it's a micro instead of fine, and it's a little bit finer of a line, which is usually what I tend to prefer for drawing. But I think for this, especially because this isn't anything final, I think there's going to be a better line. So I'm just trying to figure out where to start here. I guess I'll start with her face. I haven't done any ink on this ever, so I'm a little scared to do something permanent. But yeah, see, I already fucked it up. Well, it's fine. I fucked up. It's all downhill from here, uphill from here. It's fine. Like, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's still kind of weirdly stressful. Thanks, decent, I think. All right, I was thinking about changing this line a little. I'm gonna tweak it just a little bit. Slightly more straight. not going to draw the rest of that arm yet. I'm not ready to commit to what I've put down. Just thinking about shirt wrinkles here. I finally have any sort of reference for what this shirt should be doing, but it's also not perfect. Just because the reference I'm looking at is a little bit different. I'm suddenly noticing, like, fundamental flaws in my drawing here that I kind of hate. Maybe too late. I mean, I guess it's never too late to completely change things, but... Okay. I just want to compare previous versions of this. I feel like something got weird at some point. And just the proportions seem not what I was intending. I'm just trying to remember which... Like, at some point I redrew it based on a reference I found and did like a... Okay, yeah, so I think, like, I had my initial sketch and then this was a cleaned up version of that sketch. And then this one, I think, was a more realistically proportioned version based on a reference photo. So just less exaggerated. But then I felt like it kind of lost some of the personality that we had here. So I tried to do something somewhere in between. Jeez, that's what I started with. That's pretty rough. And that's very old Mapedi Island notes. Okay, I'm just trying to get everything together here and... Okay. Like this one was... Wait, no, this was the first realistically proportioned one I did, and then that came after. Okay. There's something going on with her, like, waist and hip area that has become really weird. And I don't fully understand what happened. Is this Neopets? No. Hello Pope 2232. Welcome. This is not Neopets. So we're making cover art for a game that I have previously made on stream. Her right hip is too high. I think the right hip is too high and the left hip is too low. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do about that. Good night, 6-7. Sleep well. What to do? Fix it? Well, yeah. Let's see. And there's the previous one. Like, I think... Yeah. Okay. I can kind of see what happened here. I think, like, this was a little loose in places. And also, like, it was starting to become off. And then I kept making it worse. So I'm gonna... Cat is just cat enough. Yes. I'm gonna put this drawing underneath. Well, maybe it doesn't line up well enough to do this. I kind of want something as a comparison here. Somehow her waist on the side here got narrower, which was not intending. Huh. Why is... Okay. The hands are mostly lined up now. What? What did I do? What did I do? Huh. Oh, right. I did intentionally kind of adjust the length of her torso from the drawing that's underneath. I intentionally shortened it. So I think probably in that process is how the hips got weird. Okay. Maybe having that underneath isn't really helpful enough. You take her 14 head lengths tall. I think that's too many. I'm just going to put that on the side and just kind of redraw this from scratch. Let's see, I think I need to draw through some of this. I felt for a while that this arm, like... I mean, this arm is more down at her side, whereas this one is up more, and it's, foreshortened. But, I don't know, I feel like this arm got a little weird. Like it's too long. Torso does seem a bit on the long side, but as a torso shorty, maybe it's normal, actually. Yeah. I mean, these proportions were based on a reference photo, like, very closely. But then I tried to exaggerate it a little bit. Just to make it a little more cartoony and dynamic, but then some things got weird in the process. So now we must fix the weirdness. So yeah, like, I think this hip needs to be up higher, and we brought this one down a little bit. But then I need to figure out this arm. So the arm and back would be bent quite so much. reference here. Yeah, I guess I ended up bending that more than it is in the reference. And yeah, I definitely made it too long. Like in my reference, this hand is pretty close to, like, right next to the, like, widest point in the hip. But then this hand should be more like up here. Like, I think the sweetie should be up here more. I don't know how that got so long on me. Huh. Oh, maybe what happened is when I shortened the torso, I didn't shorten the arm? Is that what I did? That might be what I did. It's totally what I did. All right. Well, at least we noticed this looked a little weird before I started painting. That's the important part. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna erase everything that's not ink on this arm here. Okay, so the elbow, I think the elbow is about right here. I'm gonna try to straighten this out a little bit too. Not perfectly straight, but a little bit more than what I have. Okay. I went down too far. Okay, so the hand should be around here, I think. Yeah, that looks right. And thumb here. Okay. Seems better, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, and then Sweetie, I think I'll trace this. Hey, Baron Redwing, good to see you. So, let's see. Not that this previous drawing of the little sweetie is perfect or anything, but I don't know. Might as well trace what I've got. Can still fix it if it needs it. If I just had another like 2 inches of desk, I wouldn't have to pick things up off the floor so much. Okay, well, that was unavoidable, I suppose. It would also be nice if this drawing desk thing had a lip on it. I'm trying to make this a little rounder and less straight. I'm trying to spend a lot of time just looking at this to make sure it doesn't... Make sure nothing feels too weird anymore. I mean... It's not like everything's perfect, but I think it's better. So let's see, where does this jacket go now? Shit. I'm just trying to figure out what angle this arm is at. Is it pointed forward slightly or is it pointed back slightly? I think it's pointed back slightly. Well, I guess I've drawn it pointed forward a little bit more than my reference image. So that makes it hard to figure out what is looking correct here. forgot to download that app that Deavor uses, which is too bad because I really need help organizing my various reference images here. What app? I actually don't remember. I think I have it open in a tab here. Pure Ref. It's just an app. Well, at least the thing he was mainly using it for was just to organize a bunch of reference images in a window. But I guess it does other things. Right now I'm just, oh right, there's more photo here. I was looking at my reference images of Unsecret Crush and trying to figure out if the angle of this device I've drawn here is good. I think it's pretty good. Also, yeah, this is a very helpful image for this whole arm situation. I think I want a little bit less of the top of the device. Just a teeny tiny bit. Okay, that's pretty good. We use the that King's Quest box. This was our little sweetie stand-in. I did have the idea, which I do kind of love the more I think about it. I had the idea that this cover could be on a sleeve, and then when you pull the outer sleeve off, the inner box is like a little sweetie. A little sweetie. In approximately actual size. So if I do make a physical version of this at some point, I will definitely consider that. I'm sure I will make a physical version for myself at least. Is that the one where you rotate a skull and it shows you photos that match the angle? I think that was a different one. Yeah, that was a different one. This was just, Deavor was just using it to drop a bunch of images onto a board and organize them, like his various reference images. Like, you know, I usually open a bunch of stuff up in preview. Yeah, like if you go to if you scroll down on the main page, it says drag and drop images from anywhere. And there's a nice little GIF demonstration of like dropping images from a browser into a window, and then you can kind of resize them and organize them. Like I just open up my stuff in preview, and it's not really the best app for this kind of thing when you have a bunch of stuff open at once. Especially because its minimum width is frustratingly large. It's way too big. Like it won't let you. Well, no, I don't understand how they chose the minimum width. It doesn't make sense to me. Please let me make my window smaller. This goes for almost all apps. Okay. I feel much better about this. Silver. I saw that on your Discord and I was like, well, I know he posted the poll in a bunch of other places, so I'm sure it'll work out. But Silver says, oh no, all of the polls have ended for the next Classic Vania. The poll results and replies are tied. I guess you just gotta flip a coin now. Or you could just play Castlevania 2, which is the one I voted for. We'll spin the wheel of Castlevania tomorrow. Nice. Excellent. I'm still not sure if I'm happy with it, but I think I'm just going to commit to it. I mean, we can always change things later. It's never too late to change things. Even after I've painted things, we could still change them. We can still start a completely new painting at any time. I've kind of mentally committed to doing maybe 4 tiny paintings to explore different color options. Between 1 and 4 anyway. Probably between 2 and 4. And then probably 2 full-size paintings, realistically speaking. Just because I feel like there's decent odds that by the time I'm done with the first one, I'll be like, well, crap. I probably could do this better if I started over again. Just because I'm sure I'll learned a fair bit in the process. I don't think I will do it more than that. I think at that point I'll just be like, whatever we got is what we'll go with. And if I feel like I'm really not happy with it, I can, maybe try just tweaking it digitally or something. This tape. Alright, I didn't ink this hand yet. What next? House? I think I'd like to clean up these house lines. There's just so many of them. So let's do that next. So eventually, I will need to get this drawing onto my painting surface. Obviously, I could just totally freehand it, but we spent so much time like refining all these details, it seems silly to do that. So there are two ways I can think of to do that. One is with a projector, which I don't have. That is a process I've done before. And it works well if you can do it. The other method is to basically you just take a stick of charcoal and rub it all over the back of your drawing. And then you trace over it. Try to press down decent to transfer the charcoal onto the painting surface behind it. So that's probably what we'll end up doing, unless I can think of something that will work better. That's also something I've done before, but I haven't done it in a long time. But I mean, it's a pretty simple process, so I'm sure it'll work fine. Let's see. Guess we don't really see. I'm just trying to think of what. Maybe this post just goes straight down. That's what I'm committing to for now, at least. we'll kind of make this hilly back here a little bit. Yeah. I don't really like that line. I should have sketched it first. That's fine. There's a bunch of lines here I'm not really happy with, but fine for now. Get out of here, bug. Okay. Getting there. Oh god, it's 1 o'clock already? Thank you, Silver. Again, there's lots of little bits I'm not quite happy with, but like overall, like the main goal here is to get the overall situation figured out. It's getting there. Okay, I think we'll erase at least some of these lines. Oh, I forgot to draw that. I keep forgetting that this is not opaque. Get rid of all our messy perspective lines. Please tell me to piss off, but the inside indent on the thumb looks a bit odd. This? Oh yeah. I don't know what's going on there. I said go away, bug. Yeah, this line should be up here more. Again, one of many lines that I'm not really happy with. Because, like, it's the inside of the palm in there, basically. Okay. All right. Yes, Hinton, this is in QC. Okay, now we figure out, so, a softer pencil might be good now. Where'd all those pencils go? Don't know where the box of pencils. Thank you, Truman. Does anyone know where Unsecret Crush's box of pencils went? On the skinny bookshelf. Okay, thank you. I think I see it. You strike me as a 2B pencil sort of gent. I think that's relatively accurate. Let's see. I think we determined that all these pencils are 2B. But the one I've been using, this was my favorite out of the box. I guess it's an HB. It's a Staedtler Mars Lumograph, made in Germany. But this is a pretty nice, like, I like for this kind of drawing that I've been doing. I like something that is not too soft. Like, I like to be able to make a pretty fine line when I want to. But, like, if it's too hard of a graphite, then that's no good. HB and a number 2 pencil are equivalent, I think. Okay. Hinton says, Staedtler HV users sound off in chat. Mine's a tradition. Interesting. So I don't... some of these we sharpened, right? Okay. I feel like there was one in here that was a little too soft. Only one of these is sharpened. I guess we also got... We've got a Blackwing mat here. I'll give those two a shot. I could have sworn I tried more of these. Didn't I? Are they in the pen cup? I don't think so. Yeah, there's no other pencils in here. I mean, there's this pencil, this Hello Kitty pencil, and a Beaumont pencil from the hospital. Maybe. I don't know, it's a mystery. But we'll try these two. This looks like it might be a little softer. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, Yeah, I think this... Mitsubishi 9850 HB from the Mitsubishi Pencil Co. Limited. That'll work out fine. Okay, shadows. Shadows. And also, like, clothing wrinkles. I want to think about more. Because this is bunched up. We're going to have a bunch of, like, wrinkles that show up in the shadows here, for example. But then the upper part of the sleeve is not as bunched up. Clothing wrinkles are weird, man. These wrinkles are a little too weird. Get Celius, hello! Thank you so much for coming by. Hope you had a good stream. Ooh, playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The end of Cloud's Bizarre Adventure. How have you been enjoying that? I played the first... So the first segment was Remake, and then the new one's Rebirth. I know you were playing the new one. But I have not had a chance to check that one out myself. Finally finished Remake. Nice. So for anyone new here, I'm Robot Spacer. We're working on cover art for a game I previously made on stream. And once we have a cover art image, it'll finally be time to release it, which is exciting. Oh, now I'm going to the... Is it Yuffie? Yuffie? I'm not sure I've ever known how to pronounce that correctly. I think I would say Yuffie, unless someone corrected me. DLC soon, Intergrid. Yeah, I never checked that out either. But I really enjoyed Remake a lot. I had never played the original game all the way through. I've played a pretty decent chunk of it. The first Final Fantasy I really got into was 8. I liked 8 a lot. 7 was kind of... it was like, it was interesting, it just didn't quite draw me in the way it did a lot of people. Yuffie is how I usually hear it. Okay. Yuffie. Now I can't remember what I said. I have good memories of Final Fantasy 6 through 10. I also like 12. Yeah, me too. A lot of people don't like 12, but I loved it. I really enjoyed 8. Even though it was like one of the first ones I really got into, I did not actually finish it until like, I don't know, a year or two ago. Like originally I stopped playing it because... I think I maybe got stuck initially, but I wasn't sure like what I was doing wrong or missing or whatever. And then I went back to it, and I think my disc had actually gotten scratched. And I don't know if that was the reason I was stuck previously or what. But then I eventually got like a copy of it from PSN, you know, because they're selling older games digitally, so I could play it like on my PS3 or whatever. And I transferred over my save files, I still couldn't figure out what I was missing. And I think I eventually figured out that I just had to go back and talk to somebody that I thought I was done talking to. Anyways, so yeah, it took me a long time to actually finish that. Recently, I started over the game from the beginning and really enjoyed it a lot. But then I played 10, was the first one I both got into and actually finished. So I love 10. And 12. I don't know why I skipped so many in between there. Like I know a lot of people love 9. I just didn't play it for some reason. Yeah. I keep being bothered by things, but I'm trying not to worry about it too much. I feel like this half of the jacket, based on my reference photo, is mostly going to be pretty dark. Because our light source is over here. So I think we'll have like a little bit of a highlight on, you know, these rightmost parts of the jacket. But this is mostly going to be dark. I'm not entirely sure what to do with here, just because what's going on in my reference photo is it's like the wrinkles are maybe too realistic for the way I've drawn the rest of the jacket. So maybe I just need to make up a little bit in that area. Like the wrinkles on the arms I can make more realistic, but I've kind of chosen to simplify this part a bit. Final Fantasy 11 was MMO and 14 is MMO, right? I never played those at all. 13 and 15 are skippable. It's no offense if you're a Nomura fan, is what happens when you let Tetsuya Nomura have free reins with no deadlines or manager. I enjoyed what I played of 13. My wife and I both played that a fair bit, but then like I kind of think what happened is we both got fairly far into the game, and we were living in an apartment at the time where like if one of us was playing a game on the TV and the other was like at their computer, like they were right next to each other. So I feel like we both kind of were trying to avoid spoiling the game for the other person, and both kind of stopped around the same area. I think she got further than I did. But yeah, we both enjoyed it a bit, but never finished it. And then 15, like I was not really into the premise of like 4 dudes camping. Like it just, I don't know. Put some women in your game, please. It makes it more interesting. But I ended up playing it all the way through, and I did enjoy it for what it was. I thought it was pretty enjoyable and well made. Definitely not my favorite Final Fantasy, but... Silver says, I continue to try to figure a way to cajole on Secret Crush into playing Final Fantasy 14. And Secret Crush says, I got to like right before the point of no return and switched trying to occupy myself with side quests so you could catch up, but I think you never did and then just stopped playing. Yeah. Kitselia says, even if you finish 13, there are 2 other games to finish. Fix that story and it's not that worth it. Yeah, I think like even though I was enjoying it, like, you know, I never heard that many people that like were super excited about it that had played it all the way through. So I think that probably affected somewhat my never getting around to going back to it. So where'd that? too many different drawings I keep wanting to reference. Okay, I kind of like what I did with the shadows on this face, and they're not too far off. Actually, it's surprisingly close to my reference here. So I'm going to do something kind of like that on her face. I think if you had the time, you'd like 4 through 6. Oh, yeah, so I did actually play 4. It was like a remake for DS. Yeah, it was like when they remade it in 3D. I went back and played that one and enjoyed it. I've always wanted to play 6 because I know a lot of people like that one. There's just so many games. Hello, Rainbow Burn 1993. Looks so amazing and good morning. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. We're making cover art for a game that I previously made on stream for very old Macintosh computers. But it'll also be playable on the web for people that don't have an old Macintosh. But I wanted to try to make art, cover art for it that would feel appropriate for a game that came out in the 80s. So I'm eventually going to try to paint this. I'm just kind of taking my time figuring out all the details before I get to that stage, because the less I have to make up in the painting stage, I think the better it'll turn out. Was that with chibi small art? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so shadows here. Six is special because it was the last time where most of the classic Final Fantasy team was together and made a game together. Nomura, Amano, Kitsei, Yoshi P, Nobu, etc., etc. That's cool, yeah. That makes sense that a lot of people like that one a lot. Did someone say chibi Final Fantasy? Yes. We're talking about one of the remakes of Final Fantasy IV. I guess that's... Mine should be over here more. I thought maybe I finally found someone else who enjoyed Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. I always, I appreciated what I saw of that, and I was curious to play it, especially after I enjoyed the regular version more than I expected to. But I never got around to trying it. But there's an interesting idea. Like, from what I understand, it was basically the entire game just done in a more of a chibi style for mobile devices, which is a fascinating choice. Silver Lake Pocket Edition. Nice. I'd say it's potentially the better way to play 15. Ooh. Bold statement. Slightly less side quest open world, so it's just the main story in a smaller open world. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I enjoyed exploring the open world, but it definitely didn't feel essential to that game. Like, it wasn't... It didn't give me this sense of exploration that something like, you know, Breath of the Wild did. It was just kind of a big area to run around and do stuff in. It didn't feel like an exciting exploration so much. Hinton says it's the only way I played 15, so it's definitely my favorite way to play 15. Nice. Also, the late release multiplayer co-op mode, Comrades, they made for 15 was kind of great. Huh. I do not remember that at all. Basically, Final Fantasy Monster Hunter, and I loved it. That does sound like fun. Celia says there's an old joke about a mono saying they can do a video game. If nobody ever asks them, can they also do digital art? He's a traditional artist in watercolor painting. Okay. I think those shadows are pretty decent. Unfortunately, the best jacket we had for Unsecret Crush to wear for this reference photo, the collar is completely different. It's actually got a hood on it. Which is a bummer because I feel like I could use a better reference for whatever this collar is doing, but I'll just have to go with what I got. All right, let's try to figure out this shirt. Like... you know, the way I've got it right now, it just looks so dimensionless. So we definitely need some, like, wrinkles and stuff happening here to give us some shape. Again, you know, the reference I have is helpful, but it's not quite the same, like... all aspects of it are not quite the same as what I'm trying to draw, so it's tricky. I'm trying to do just like, you know, I'm not trying to do any soft shadows. Just because it feels like a simplified way to figure out the main information I'm trying to fill in here. But I feel like with the shirt especially, like, the soft shadows are fairly important to to make it look right. So that might be something I just kind of hope I can get the subtleties of that when I go to actually paint it. Doesn't seem worth spending too much time on it now, because ultimately it's going to be a very different thing to try to paint it. The more I do this, the more I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth doing this for the whole image. I should have took a quick picture before I started drawing on it, over the inked part. I'm wondering if it might be more useful to digitally color it. It's something I've been considering, just as a way of working out details. Like, I'm not committed to doing everything with traditional drawing methods that would have been appropriate in the 80s. My main goal is to create something that looks like it could have come from the 80s. And I think maybe doing a digitally colored version would help me work out a lot of details faster than I could do any other way. Thank you, Res Mason. Also, hello. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I've got so far. I'm just kind of thinking about next steps. I suppose also, like I was talking about, doing a bunch of little tiny paintings. By a bunch, I mean 2 to 4. So, that's also a chance to work out some of the shadow stuff I'm working on here. I'm just trying to think if that's enough. I guess if it's not enough, then I can always do the digitally colored version before I get to the full-size painting. I like the guy in the window. Thank you. I forget who suggested that, but it was a very good idea. I'm being punished by the YouTube algorithm for attempting to comprehend whatever the hell Warframe is. I'm sorry to hear that. You should have just watched Silver's stream on Wednesday. You're trying to make the art process take up more streams or fewer streams. Neither. The correct number. I want to start painting next week. I want to do those little paintings next week, ideally, as long as I have all my supplies ready. But I think at this point, there's no reason I can't do that next. Because that step is more about working out colors than it is any particular details. So that can be done really at any time. More streams, got it. Hopefully, like, my preferred time frame would be we do those little test paintings next week, then the week after ideally start on the full-size drawing, and then my hunch is that I'll end up working on that a little bit off stream just for practical reasons and to not drag it out too long. But then maybe we can finish it up the week after that. I don't know. It's probably overly optimistic, but that's what I'm hoping for. Should cosplay as Bob Ross for like one stream. I think Brick Kaylee did that at one point. Silver says, a third-person PvE, player versus enemy? Is that what that stands for? Action game with a focus on both ranged and melee combat, unlocking new warframes, character types, and weapons, and progressing through each node mission on the galaxy map. Eventually, it starts unlocking more modes, like a roguelike mode, open world zones with different focuses, etc. Okay. Good summary. How did people who already make art learn how to do it? I don't know. Different ways? I feel like everyone learns in a different way. She did. It was amazing. Yeah. It's been a while, but I can kind of picture it. Oh, the lore. Okay. That seems like even significantly more complicated. But yeah, I think it's 1:30. I think I've maybe done as much as I can with this current approach. So I think we'll probably leave it at that. I goofed up Brisket's eye. It's bothering me. Poor Brisket's left eye. There we go. Thank you for the emote on Secret Crush. That's Brit as Bob Ross. Let's see. Let's flatten this table so we can look at this drawing without any minor distortion because of the angle. Player versus e-cigarettes. That makes sense. I assume Silver is currently typing up an extremely long post about the lore of Warframe. So let's see. What do we have previously? What was our previous version? There we go. I'm trying to determine if we made progress here. I think this is overall better. I think so. Yeah, there it is. All right, I'm going to read it all. Thousands upon thousands of years in the future, humanity is spread throughout our solar system and beyond. We interact with a species called the Orokin. Eventually, humanity splits into multiple factions. There is also a sudden arrival of a faction of seemingly biomechanical vigilantes called Tenno, which have very advanced abilities and can switch between various bodies, warframes. They're led by a woman called the Lotus and are trying to free those whom are peaceful from evil. And more than that gets into spoiler territory. Nice. Well, I enjoyed the summary. Thank you, Silver. And then we also had... I'll show this again for anyone that missed it at the beginning of the stream. I just took a photo of this drawing and scanned it in. Well, I took a photo of it. That was my method of scanning it in, basically. And I wanted to get an idea of like our overall box proportions and, you know, what the title is going to look like. I tried some different fonts. I didn't spend a lot of time on fonts, but like I tried some that were like kind of digital kind of fonts. And I felt with anything like that, it made it feel like it was a very sci-fi game. Which didn't feel right. Like, I feel like, you know, the illustration is going to make it clear that it's not very sci-fi, but we do also have a little, you know, device that she's holding. So, like, I don't want to give the wrong impression with that. And then some other stuff that I tried just felt a little... Basically, everything that was a little more stylized didn't quite feel right. And then I started looking for options that were similar to the type I ended up creating for the game itself. And this one is pretty close. It's not exact, but like all the major features of this typeface are pretty much like how I drew that text. And I feel like the drop shadow feels like appropriate for the time period. So I think I'm happy with that. I'm a little tempted to play more with it, but I think I like the simplicity of this. And then I figured I would maybe come up with a little logo. That's just kind of a placeholder for that. It might end up looking like this with a little like robot logo thing. But we'll see. No idea the Orcan Man was so significant. Main factions. The Grineer, a species that is entirely clones and focused on conquest. Corpus. Tech bros taken to the extreme. Oh no. The Infested, which are creatures that used to be something else but got overtaken by an alien spore parasite and mutated into carriers. There are also other factions later, but that is also spoilers. Riz Mason says, the title's outline and drop shadow remind me of those options as textiles and Macarite and its ilk. That's reasonable. Grineer Corpus used to be just normal humans millennia ago. Oh, okay. Thank you both. Alright. So, that's gonna be it for tonight. So, next week, same schedule. Tuesday, Maupiti Island. I have no prediction for how that's going to go, but I'm excited. I think if anyone missed me saying this earlier, I have done some homework to give myself 4 different save files that are all at different points during the time period of the game. So that gives us different opportunities to talk to people in different situations and ask them as many questions as possible with like minimal setup involved. So hopefully we can, skip a lot of the busy work that that would otherwise be necessary on stream and get right to the, interesting stuff. We'll probably still have to go through a lot of dialogue we've heard, but honestly, I feel like it's been a while since we really got into all the dialogue, so there'll probably be interesting things even in the bits that we've seen before. And then a week from today, like I was saying, I'm going to try to get all my painting supplies tomorrow, or at least most of them. If necessary, I'll order additional stuff online over the weekend. So hopefully I'll be ready to start painting next week. But right now, I'm going to find us someone to raid. We got a lot of choices here, so... always many choices. Even Transfer Point has a zombie. Are you referring to our normal guy? I would say he's not really a zombie. But I don't know. It's maybe not unreasonable to refer to him that way. He's just a normal guy, really. I'm just looking at who all streaming and what they're up to. I think we're gonna say hello to Ghoul Babe. She's been playing a series. Shoot, the one she was playing yesterday is five days something or other. I can't remember the exact title, but she's playing 7 Days a Skeptic right now, and this is a series by Yahtzee of internet fame. I had never heard of this series until pretty recently. But Maple Mystery said that one of the games in this series in particular was a big influence for her. And I've heard other people say good things about it as well, so I'm interested to check out some more of it. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. There's a raid message if you'd like to join the Robot Parade. I hope you have a good weekend. Thanks again. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you around. Bye.